everyone. So the topic I've picked today is generally spoke how to make our towns greener, or in a way better and optimize the way we're living in it. So first of all, I would be very glad if you could join me, and I would be very glad if you could also answer some of my questions that I'm going to pose today, and throw in any ideas. Generally, I'm just going to throw in a few problems. So, as you know, there are large cities forming in our countries these days, and it's a potential problem, as it raises a lot of issues regarding the way we live, the way we travel, and the way we do everything. When there are a lot of people concentrated on a single place, there's more pollution, there are more CO2 emissions, carbon emissions, and generally there are more buildings and people need more space. This is a potential problem. It's different from, for example, how people live in smaller towns and villages, like, for example, the Slow City project that the Comenius project deals with. I would like to ask you, how do you think we could optimize our way of living? How could we make it better? What changes could we introduce to our lifestyle so our towns could become, for example, greener? Or do you think that we should, in a way, try to tackle the whole idea of bigger cities, or should we just try and stay in smaller cities, try and develop our smaller towns? What do you think? Anyone? Okay, so I'm just going to help you out with a couple of problems. So, intensive urban growth has led to greater poverty. It's a fact. People in bigger towns are poorer. Since there's, as I said, there's a concentration of people in bigger towns, there's more population concentrating on those places, and services are unable to provide jobs, work placement for everyone. So it's a potential problem. What do you think may be the solutions to that problem in particular?
Well, it's true that it's a problem, but also most of the employers hire only people with experience, and the young one, they have ideas, I'm sure, but because of the fact that they don't have experience in this sphere, they are not hired, and they can develop, so the ideas are not shared.
Okay, but in the situation in particular, I don't think that the problem is regarding the age or the experience of the employees. I think it's more of the mere problem that there are not enough places, And I think that a solution may well be, in a way, stimulating the development of the market so that it could provide more places. How do you think could that be achieved?
In my opinion, I think that big towns don't have to increase the number of the places where people can work. I think that they may encourage people to work in their local places by increasing their local industry.
By improving local industries. Okay. I would like to talk about energy. Another threat that bigger cities pose is the energy that is needed for it to function normally. So buildings are the biggest consumers of energy. They consume like sort of 30 or 40% of the total energy that our world provides. Do you think that, what do you think can be done about that? Like, what solutions do you think there are to that problem? Since you know, the concentration of more people in a single place would mean that they need more energy. Do you think that the way things are today, the means of the means of providing the energy we provide today are efficient enough, or do you think there are like another alternative ways that we should provide energy? Like, for example, do you think that we should concentrate more on gathering solar energy, gathering the energy from the sun and the winds, for example, which is 100% ecological, does no harm to nature at all? Or do you think that we should stick to more pragmatic ways of getting energy, like from nuclear power plants or heat power plants? What do you think?
Provide energy by the help of nature, like solar energy or from the wind, because sooner or later that nuclear energy will disappear. I mean, like it will.
You're talking about the resources of our.
Yes, for example.
Like coal and petrol, yes.
Yes, they will.
They will run out.
Run out, and then what we will do when they run out? We have to find another
Yes.
way, ecological way.
I agree with that. There's a lot of heat, which in a way could be gathered and turned into energy in turn. Like, it's the same as burning coal and fuels, but it's ecological. We don't do any harm to nature ourselves. So another thing is using the power of tides. You know, when water comes, it has a lot of potential. As a tide, you know, can lift the ship. So it's a lot of power, and we haven't used that yet. And the power of waves the same way. So I think it's an alternative way. Do you think it could be, in a way, it could be a 100% substitute for the energy that we gain from other types of power plants that we use, coal, for example, and fuels? Do you think it could be a 100% alternative, or we're not ready for that yet? What do you think?
I think that we are not ready for this because the solar panels are very expensive, and now the country is on. The people are poor,
yeah.
and they can't buy this expensive technology for the eco energy. So yeah, we are not ready yet.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so when do you suppose in the future will be our nation be ready?
In about 15 or 20 years, we'll be ready to
15.
go on eco energy.
Okay, that's pretty optimistic. Okay, so in your opinion, in 20 years, you said?
Yeah.
In 20 years, you think that we won't be using any fuels in order, like coal, to get energy, and maybe even decrease the usage of nuclear power plants, as they're dangerous?
Well, yes. Well, not complete, but we will increase the eco energy, the using of eco energy.
That's my opinion as well. As a matter of fact, I think that also another way of preventing the usage of such, in a way, dangerous on the one hand for people, like nuclear power plants, and dangerous for nature, the coals. We can, in a way, tackle them by designing architectural projects that are self-sustained, for example. Like, there are buildings that can harvest by themselves energy, like the energy from the sun by the solar panels, like you said. They could also use different types of windows and different types of facades in order to provide a climate in the building. Like, I think that in Bulgaria it's a major problem that the facades of the buildings and the windows are regarded as a barrier to the world, not whereas they should be regarded as a membrane, just like in biology. You know, it's sort of we could use the energy from the outside to control the temperature inside, and vice versa. Not vice versa. I meant that we could use also the winds, for example, to cool the spaces inside the building. So maybe you could think about that. Do you think there are any other efficient ways to control or in a way use outside energy inside a building?
I'd like to comment on what you said earlier. Well, I saw a way we can use dirty water by cleaning it using a filter, and when we get enough water or as much as we need, we have to boil it, and then we can use it to wash our dishes or take bath with it or even drink.
Very good, yes. I agree with you. In conclusion, I think I introduced a couple of problems, and I gave you something to think about. And the things that I think is very important is that we reduce, in the first place, we reduce the energy we use by respecting nature more. Like, you know, we should try and reuse all the things that we throw away. We should reuse them so that we could save resources. We should reduce the energy that we use, like turning off the lights, you know, everything. I think we should be as respectful to nature as possible, as you know, in order to have a brighter future, we need to be careful, and we need to think in perspective, and on a bigger scale, we should be able to design our projects thinking of those problems, like all the ecological architecture things that I mentioned. I think it should be better for you to think about that. That's all I want to share with you.
Hello everyone, my name is Maggie.
And mine is Michelle.
So as you can see, our topic is Haskovo, the green city. Isn't as green as we want it. We'll be talking about the positive and negative in our town's environmental condition. You can start.
Throughout the year, as seasons change, Haskovo's parks and gardens shine with magnificent colors and freshness. Haskovo has deserved the award the greenest city in Bulgaria from 2011 within the national campaign Green Bulgaria of the Ministry of Environment and Water Resources. Our town has won the prestigious award in the category for cities of 30,000 to 100,000 inhabitants. There are two large parks on the territory of Haskovo. The first one is Yamacha, which is established in 20th century, and there are 500 acres set for its territory, which is in the southern part of the city. The monument of the Holy Virgin Mary is situated in the beginning of this park, with the chapel beneath. The second one is Kenana, which is the largest park on the territory of Haskovo, and it's situated in the northeastern part of the city. There is a variety of wood species spread. Kenana is great for long walks in the park, cycling, or just a race surrounded by the beautiful nature. But is the city as green as we want it to be?
My turn. So every city has environmental problems. The area to which Haskovo belongs is characterized by relatively high levels of harmful substances in the atmosphere. The amount of waste has decreased in recent years, but sadly it's still above the national average. In the year 2010, it was indicated that there are not enough wastewater treatment plants. So in 2012, 3 wastewater treatment plants were under construction and 2 more potable water treatment plants were being built, which is considered to improve the environmental condition of our town. Here I have these 2 charts that show how the environment has changed throughout the years. This is a statistic from 2011. The first one is for the emission of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. We can see it was at its lowest level in 2002, but it fastly started to grow, and now it's decreasing, but it's still at a pretty high level. The second chart is for the household waste. It actually started from a pretty high level and then it started decreasing, and right now it's at its lowest level, which is a very good thing. Well, it appears that one city needs a lot more than just having big green parks in order to become a green city. A green city should have clean air, free of polluters, clean potable waters, and well-kept parks where people can connect to nature, and of course waste-free streets. So now Misha is going to tell us what are the benefits of living in a green city and how does it reflect on people.
So I have listed some facts which can prove us the greener the city, the better life would be. Living in a diverse natural environment reduces or eliminates bullying. Nature buffers the impact of life's stress and helps deal with adversity. Natural environments stimulate social interaction between children. So the conclusion of this is?
Yes, the conclusion is that nature is very important not only for our health but also for creating a good atmosphere for life. Sitting in a nice, beautiful green park can always make a person feel happier and stress-free, and that is why we should all try to live more environmentally friendly, because when you do something good for nature, you also do something good for yourself. Well,
Are there any questions?
Yes, you have listed some of the environmental problems of our district. So can you tell me what are the solutions for them?
That's a great question. There are many well-known solutions of this, like riding a bike instead of a car, saving energy and water by making sure that the taps are not left running, and switching off the unnecessary lights, solar panels, and we could exchange the ordinary light bulbs with energy-saving bulbs.
So does the municipality take measures of these problems?
yes, of course it does. A lot of ecology programs were started, like, for instance, there are campaigns that inspire people to form groups and go out together, collect waste from the streets and the parks. There's also public transport, which makes life more ecologically friendly, because it helps to decrease the level of carbon dioxide in the air. And of course there's recycling. There are recycling bins in our town, and there are campaigns that teach people the importance of recycling. Actually, this year our school started such a campaign, and now we have recycling bins in the school halls, which you probably know because you're in the school. And yes, that's all. And in addition, we can say that we are proud to call Haskovo a green city, but there's always something more that can be done to improve the ecological situation in our town and to make it even greener.